Our planet is filled with places that seem impossible. You will find caves where sunlight carves giant eyes into the stone. Ancient lakes that breathe in the heart of scorched deserts. And landscapes that feel more like distant planets than our own. Some were shaped by forces older than human history. Others remain enigmas even to this day. Join us as we journey across the globe to uncover the most extraordinary hidden gems our world has to offer. Prohodna Cave, Bulgaria. Ancient local civilizations viewed this limestone void as a sacred portal for fertility rituals and communication with the divine. Within the heart of one of Europe's largest karst landscapes, the Iskar River carved this path over 2,500,000 years ago. What arrests the attention of anyone who enters are two nearly identical almond-shaped openings piercing the ceiling of the main chamber. Locally known as the Eyes of God, these apertures create a chilling gaze that follows visitors as they move across the floor. During heavy storms, water cascades through these sockets, appearing like colossal weeping eyes against the grey rock. Archaeological excavations have unearthed traces of human presence dating back to the Copper Age, revealing that prehistoric inhabitants utilized the shadows for shelter and ceremony. The precise symmetry of these voids often leads people to believe they were intentional carvings rather than a freak accident of geological erosion. At night, the moon passes directly overhead, illuminating the chamber floor with a pale, celestial light that reveals every jagged contour of the limestone walls. Benxi water caves, China. Deep within the Taizi Mountains, an electric boat glides silently across the longest navigable underground river on the planet. This subterranean world took shape over 5 million years ago as water wore through the limestone, creating a maze of illuminated geological formations. The cavern ceiling stretches so high in certain chambers that the echoes of dripping water vanish into the darkness. Over 3,000 feet of the river remain open to the public, though the entire system snakes much deeper into the mountain's unexplored core. Thousands of stalactites and stalagmites have morphed into fantastical shapes over eons, their surfaces glittering under artificial lights. One specific section, known as the Grand Hall, spans wide enough to contain several thousand people at once, resembling an underground cathedral carved from raw stone. The water maintains a constant temperature of 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year, independent of the shifting seasons above ground. Melissani Cave, Greece. Legends suggest this was the resting place of nymphs, mythological beings who served the god Pan. In 1951, a Greek explorer rediscovered the entrance, revealing a crystal-clear underground lake fed by seawater flowing through tunnels under the island of Kefalonia. Thousands of years ago, a massive earthquake caused the roof to collapse, creating a giant oval skylight that allows vertical sunbeams to penetrate the cavern. When the sun reaches its zenith, the water turns an intense shade of sapphire, and the clarity becomes so absolute that boats appear to float on nothing but air. The lake depth reaches 30 meters or nearly 100 feet, with jagged rocks visible on the bottom through the transparent surface. Forests of greenery cling to the jagged rim of the opening, contrasting with the dark shadows of the inner chambers. Sanctuary of Las Lajas, Colombia. The grey and white stone towers of this Gothic masterpiece span a deep canyon carved by the Guaitara River. According to local history, an indigenous woman and her daughter witnessed a miraculous image of the Virgin Mary on a rock wall during a severe storm in 1754. Instead of moving the sacred site to a more accessible location, engineers decided to build the church directly onto the cliff face, hanging over a plunge of 100 meters or 330 feet. The structure seen today required 33 years of labor, involving massive stone foundations that merge into the volcanic rock of the canyon walls. Pilgrims travel from across the continent to touch the original rock wall, which serves as the altar inside the sanctuary. A thin waterfall cascades nearby, adding a constant roar of water to the prayers of those visiting this architectural anomaly built over a jagged abyss. Five, Tolantongo, Mexico. Steam drifts from 38 turquoise pools, clinging to a vertical mountainside in the state of Hidalgo. These mineral-rich basins receive a constant flow of hot water from a subterranean thermal river, maintaining a temperature around 35 degrees Celsius or 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Below the pools, a river of the same vibrant blue rushes through the canyon, carrying heat from a massive cave where a waterfall plunges from the darkness. Natural minerals like magnesium and calcium carbonate provide the water with its milky turquoise hue, contrasting with the dry, cactus-studded slopes of the surrounding valley. Visitors navigate through a mist-filled grotto where warm water rains from the ceiling, saturating every crevice of the limestone rock. The steep terrain forces the architecture of the pools into a tiered arrangement, resembling a liquid staircase carved into the earth. Thousands of gallons of heated water circulate through the system every hour, fueled by the volcanic activity churning beneath the Mexican plateau. Porto de Galinhas, Brazil. Low tide reveals a labyrinth of crystalline pools carved into the massive coral reef system, stretching across the Pernambuco shoreline. The name traces back to a time when illegal ships transported people beneath baskets of chickens to bypass coastal inspectors. Small wooden boats known as jangadas navigate through narrow channels, stopping at natural basins where tropical fish gather in the transparent water. These formations act as a natural barrier, blocking the force of the Atlantic waves and creating pockets of absolute stillness. The water temperature stays warm year-round, influenced by the tropical climate of northeastern Brazil. Unlike typical coastlines, the floor consists of ancient, fossilized coral that provides a jagged surface for local marine life to thrive. During the peak of the tidal cycle, the ocean covers the entire structure, leaving only the sound of crashing waves against the outer wall. Crescent Lake, China. A sliver of jade water rests between golden dunes that reach heights of several hundred feet. This crescent-shaped oasis has survived for 2,000 years, despite the shifting sands of the Gobi Desert. Wind currents flowing over the surrounding echoing sand mountains create a unique aerodynamic effect, pushing sand away from the water surface instead of burying it. During the Han Dynasty, travelers on the Silk Road relied on this spring as a vital sanctuary before facing the scorched plains of Central Asia. Adjacent to the water, a complex of traditional Chinese pavilions and pagodas with tiered roofs stands as a striking architectural monument against the backdrop of the shifting dunes. Poets across several Chinese dynasties documented the impossible contrast between the cool liquid and the surrounding heat. The depth of the water has fluctuated over the centuries, but the spring continues to flow from an underground aquifer through the desert floor. Sunlight reflecting off the surface creates a sharp glow that mirrors the crescent moon's shape. Every grain of sand on the slopes remains in constant motion, yet the water maintains a clear, undisturbed surface. Benagil Cave, Portugal. Powerful Atlantic swells carved a massive limestone dome into the Algarve coastline over millions of years. A single giant aperture in the ceiling, often called the eye, allows vertical columns of sunlight to illuminate a private beach trapped within the stone walls. The tides regulate access to the interior, forcing visitors to time their arrival through two arched sea entrances. Golden layers of sedimentary rock display the passage of geological eras, with horizontal stripes marking different sea levels from the past. Waves continue to erode the base of the cave, expanding the internal chamber to a width of nearly 100 feet or 30 meters. The ceiling stretches upward in a perfect natural curve, protecting the sand from the winds of the open ocean. Because the roof collapsed centuries ago, the interior atmosphere remains bright and airy, unlike the dark, cramped tunnels found elsewhere along the coast. Hukou Waterfall, China. The roar begins long before the riverbed narrows into a jagged stone passage only 30 meters or 98 feet wide. Millions of tons of sediment transform the water into a thick, golden liquid as it approaches the gorge. This creates the only major waterfall on the planet, characterized by a dense mixture of silt and clay. During flood seasons, the volume multiplies with such intensity that the entire canyon floor vanishes beneath a churning mass of yellow foam. The force of the impact sends plumes of mist into the air, drenching the surrounding rocks in a layer of fine, slippery mud. Over centuries, the abrasive grit within the water has carved deep, irregular grooves into the bedrock, evidence of a relentless grinding process. Local records mention how the ground trembles under the weight of the falling river, which plunges 20 meters or 66 feet into the basin below. The water does not splash, it thuds, a heavy rhythmic percussion echoing against the cliffs. Horizontal Falls, Australia. Tidal forces in the Kimberley region move with such velocity that they defy the standard definition of a waterfall. Within Talbot Bay, massive volumes of seawater attempt to squeeze through two narrow mountain gaps just meters apart. This creates a vertical drop of up to 4 meters or 13 feet, but instead of falling over a cliff, the ocean rushes through the gorges horizontally. Sir David Attenborough described this phenomenon as one of the greatest natural wonders in the world due to its raw energy. During a spring tide, the direction of the flow reverses entirely, turning the once violent surges into massive whirlpools that spin across the surface. The pressure buildup is so intense that the water level on one side of the gap remains significantly higher than the other, creating a wall of moving ocean. The turquoise water churns white as it forces its way through the ancient, orange-tinted sandstone passages. Tumpak, Sewu, Indonesia. A semicircular curtain of multiple streams cascades down a rock wall blanketed in thick vegetation. Fed by the Glidic River, the water originates on the slopes of the nearby Semeru volcano. Over thousands of years, lava flows built up the steep cliffs that now frame this amphitheater of water. Thousands of gallons of water plunge 120 meters or nearly 400 feet into a narrow canyon floor. Because of the immense volume, a heavy mist rises constantly, soaking the tropical ferns and mosses that cling to every surface. Reaching the base requires descending through bamboo ladders and crossing streams where the humidity reaches 100%. From the canyon floor, the view reveals the sheer scale of the vertical cliffs that isolate the basin from the surrounding jungles. The sound of 1,000 waterfalls creates a deafening roar that vibrates through the rock. The volcano continues to release plumes of ash in the background, adding a grey layer of volcanic dust to the vibrant greenery of the valley. Lingtong Temple, China. Built into a cliffside within Fujian province, the structure utilizes natural cavities in the volcanic rock. It appears to float in mid-air, supported by wooden pillars and stone foundations that blend into the mountainside. Unlike other temples that serve as museums, this remains an active Buddhist monastery where daily rituals occur in silence. A thin, spring-fed waterfall cascades just above the temple, creating a natural curtain between worshippers and the abyss below. The architecture follows the jagged contours of the mountain, resulting in narrow corridors and uneven floors. Thousands of years of tectonic activity shaped these rock shelters, providing protection from the elements while offering vantage points over the surrounding forest. The ascent involves steep, stone-carved steps that wrap around the vertical face of the mountain. Mount Yasur, Vanuatu. Captain James Cook spotted the orange glow from the sea in 1774, calling it the Lighthouse of the Pacific. This active volcano has been erupting continuously for over 800 years, releasing jets of lava and clouds of ash every few minutes. Under strict supervision, visitors stand at the rim of the crater to witness explosive blasts that send molten rock hundreds of feet into the air. The ground shakes with a deep, percussive thud that can be felt in the chest. Unlike other volcanoes, the vents here remain open, preventing a massive pressure buildup that would lead to a catastrophic explosion. For island residents, the volcano is a living spiritual being tied to ancestral forces. Sulfurous gases rise from the vents, turning the surrounding ground shades of yellow and gray. At night, the sky turns a vivid red as the magma reflects off the underside of the ash clouds. The smell of burning minerals fills the air. Kyzylkup, Kazakhstan. 60 to 70 million years ago, this entire region lay beneath the ancient Tethys Ocean. Layers of marine sediment accumulated on the seabed at different stages, creating a striking range of colors that earned this area the nickname Tiramisu Mountains. Reddish and pink shades result from iron oxidation, while white and cream bands consist of chalk and limestone deposits. Situated in the Mangistau region within the Caspian Depression, the terrain features jagged ridges and rolling slopes that reveal millions of years of geological history. Wind and rainfall have sculpted the soft sediment into geometric patterns that shift as the surface erodes. No roads lead to this remote desert location, requiring travelers to follow tracks across dust and stone. The soil remains barren, with almost no vegetation capable of surviving the high salinity of the earth. Skeletal remains of prehistoric sea creatures occasionally emerge from the chalky layers as the wind strips away the surface. Each layer represents a distinct era of environmental change, compressed into thousands of feet of colorful rock. White Pocket, United States. Its massive sand dunes from the Jurassic period solidified into rock 190 million years ago. Located within the Vermilion Cliffs National Monument in northern Arizona, the surface displays textures resembling cauliflower heads or the folds of a human brain. Bright white tones of pure quartz sandstone contrast sharply with deep red and orange streaks caused by iron oxidation. Geologists believe that a massive earthquake or subterranean shift caused the saturated sand to liquefy before it hardened, resulting in the chaotic, swirling patterns visible today. Natural hollows in the rock collect rainwater that supports rare bursts of desert life. The terrain is so rugged that only specialized vehicles can navigate the deep sand leading to the site. Sharp contours of white stone rise from the desert floor like frozen waves of milk. Of the landscape, no footprints remain for long, as the wind constantly sandblasts the surface, maintaining the polished alien appearance. Stuðlagil Canyon, Iceland. The construction of a hydroelectric dam in 2009 reduced the water flow of the Jökulsá River, revealing a gorge lined with towering basalt columns. As dense lava cooled slowly millions of years ago, it contracted and fractured into nearly perfect hexagonal patterns, These geometric walls rise vertically from the riverbed, creating a symmetrical corridor that feels like an intentional architectural feat. During the summer months, the water turns a stunning turquoise color, reflecting the blue of the sky against the dark, iron-rich stone. Reddish tones, visible on certain sections of the columns, indicate the presence of iron oxides within the ancient lava flows. The river continues to carve through the base of the pillars, polishing the stone into smooth, rounded shapes. Sudden drops in elevation create small waterfalls that echo through the narrow passage. Thousands of basalt blocks lie scattered along the canyon floor, evidence of the ongoing collapse and transformation of the gorge. Rio Tinto, Spain. Deep red water flows through the Huelva province, carrying high concentrations of iron and copper from 5,000 years of mining activity. This environment maintains an extreme acidity that kills most life forms, leaving only specialized microorganisms behind. NASA researchers utilize this terrain as a terrestrial analog to prepare for missions to Mars. The riverbed consists of oxidized minerals that stain the rocks in shades of crimson and violet. Sulfuric acid dissolves heavy metals from the surrounding earth, resulting in a liquid that appears more like blood than water. Even under the midday sun, the surface remains opaque and dark. Heavy metals seep from the ancient shafts of the Tartessian and Roman eras, ensuring the water remains toxic to almost every biological entity. (18) Noboribetsu, Hell Valley, Japan. A massive eruption of Mount Hayori 20,000 years ago left behind a scarred landscape of steam and boiling mud. (10,000 liters, or over 2,600 gallons of hot water, surge to the surface every minute, feeding 11 different types of thermal springs. Sulfurous gases vent from cracks in the earth, coating the jagged rocks in a pale yellow crust. Bubbling mud pots churn constantly, releasing columns of steam that obscure the valley floor. Iron-rich minerals tint the streams in metallic shades, creating a chaotic palette of grays and oranges. Local tradition associates the site with the entrance to the underworld due to the constant noise of hissing gas and moving earth. Paths wind through the volcanic debris where the air temperature fluctuates wildly near the vents. Saline and acidic waters combine in the pools, creating a chemical cocktail that dissolves metal. Batu Caves, Malaysia. Massive limestone outcrops formed 400 million years ago dominate the skyline north of Kuala Lumpur. At the base stands a towering golden statue of the god Murugan, coated in 300 liters or nearly 80 gallons of gold paint. Reaching the main sanctuary requires ascending 272 steps painted in a vibrant rainbow of colors. Long-tailed macaques roam the jagged cliffs, approaching visitors in search of food near the entrance of the cathedral cave. The interior ceiling reaches 100 meters or 328 feet, opening to the sky through natural fissures that allow sunlight to illuminate the Hindu shrines. Smoke from incense sticks curls toward the limestone formations, where ancient stalactites drip moisture onto the temple floors. Thousands of pilgrims gather here annually for the Thaipusam festival. Mount Popa, Myanmar. An extinct volcanic plug stands vertically from the central jungles of Myanmar, the result of eruptions that occurred 250,000 years ago. At the summit stands the Taung Kalat Monastery, a complex of golden temples and pagodas that appear to grow directly from the vertical rock. This site serves as the spiritual heart for the worship of Nats, 37 protective spirits central to Burmese tradition. "777 covered stone steps wind around the sheer cliffs, guarded by hundreds of macaque monkeys that reside on the slopes. Modest homes and shops cluster at the base of the monolith, providing supplies for the countless pilgrims who make the ascent. From the viewing platforms, the surrounding plains of Bagan stretch, reaching out to the horizon, punctuated by ancient volcanic debris and dense forest. The sheer verticality of the rock prevents any vegetation from taking root on the steep basaltic faces of the mountain. Ruyi Bridge, China. Suspended 140 meters or 459 feet above the Shengxianju Valley, this interlocking steel structure mimics the shape of a traditional jade scepter. The design features 3 undulating walkways that cross over each other, creating an eye-shaped opening when viewed from above. Engineers utilized advanced steel tension techniques to withstand the gale force winds that sweep through the Taijo Mountains. Transparent glass panels form the floor of the central section, offering a vertical drop into the abyss for those crossing the span. When the bridge first opened to the public, images circulating online were widely dismissed as digital fakes due to the impossible curves of the architecture. "12 tons of steel and glass form the spine of the walkway, which connects high jagged cliffs once separated by a massive gorge. Mist often rolls through the valley, obscuring the ground and leaving the structure floating in a white void. (22) Enedi Plateau. Chad, millions of years of wind and water erosion have carved a vast sandstone labyrinth within the heart of the Sahara Desert. Towering arches and gravity-defying pillars dominate this arid plateau, where permanent natural pools, known as gueltas, sustain life in extreme heat. Thousands of years of human history remain etched into the rock walls, featuring paintings of cattle, hunters, and wildlife that flourished when the region was a lush savanna. In the depths of the Guelta d'Arche, a small population of desert crocodiles survives in the dark, brackish water, isolated for centuries from any major river system. These reptiles represent the last remnants of a prehistoric era when the Sahara was a land of lakes and rivers. Nomadic caravans still navigate these narrow canyons, using the ancient pools as vital watering stops during cross-desert journeys. The temperature fluctuates wildly, dropping from scorching heat to near freezing once the sun vanishes behind the orange monoliths. Sandstone bridges span wide gaps between the cliffs, formed as softer rock layers crumbled under the relentless desert wind. Kacaban Island, Indonesia. Seawater became trapped inside an uplifted coral atoll thousands of years ago, creating a brackish ecosystem in the center of a remote island. Within this landlocked lake, 4 species of jellyfish evolved in total isolation from the open ocean. Lacking natural predators for eons, these creatures gradually discarded their defensive mechanisms, resulting in a population that completely lost the ability to sting. Swimmers move among millions of translucent golden and moon jellyfish that pulsate through the water like living gelatinous clouds. The lake floor consists of thick green algae and tangled mangrove roots, providing a dark backdrop for the glowing bodies of the inhabitants. Such a biological phenomenon occurs in only a few corners of the globe, where the absence of threat transformed lethal hunters into harmless drifters. The water maintains a constant stillness, disturbed only by the rhythmic expansion and contraction of millions of soft bells. Pungo Andongo, Angola. Gigantic monolithic formations of dark sedimentary rock dominate the flat savanna plains of the Malanja province. Thousands of years of erosion have sculpted these massive stones into silhouettes that resemble elephants, whales, and giant human faces. During the 16th century, these natural fortresses served as the strategic stronghold for the kings of the Ndongo kingdom, providing an impenetrable defense against invading forces. Local history suggests that the footprints of Queen Nzinga remain etched into the stone, marking her resistance against colonial expansion. Following heavy rainfall, the porous rock absorbs moisture and sprouts dark moss, turning the entire landscape a deep, glossy black. The scale of these stones dwarfs the surrounding trees, casting long shadows across the grass. Some blocks reach heights comparable to 40-story buildings, or 400 feet and 120 meters, standing as silent sentinels over the African plains. Wind whistling through the narrow gaps between the monoliths produces a haunting hum. Bay of Fires, Australia. Granite boulders stained in a brilliant, fiery orange stretch along the northeastern coast of Tasmania for 50 kilometers or 31 miles. This striking coloration does not come from the stone itself, but from a thick layer of lichen that thrives in the damp marine environment. Captain Tobias Furneaux gave the stretch its name in 1773 after spotting numerous fires lit by Aboriginal people from the deck of his ship. The contrast between the orange stone, pure white sand, and the turquoise Atlantic creates a palette rarely seen in the natural world. Tectonic processes millions of years ago pushed these massive granite blocks to the surface, where wind and salt spray spent eons rounding their jagged edges. At dawn, the lichen glows with such intensity that the shoreline appears to be burning against the dark ocean. Small lagoons form behind the rock walls, acting as calm nurseries for local marine life sheltered from the crashing surf. Thor's Well, United States. A gaping hole in the basalt shoreline of Cape Perpetua appears to be swallowing the Pacific Ocean with every crashing wave. This circular sinkhole, roughly 6 meters or 20 feet deep, was once a sea cave before the ceiling eventually succumbed to the constant battering of the surf and collapsed. During high tide or severe storms, the mechanism of the well creates a terrifying optical illusion. As a massive wave rushes in, water fills the hole from below and erupts in a violent spray before seemingly draining away into a bottomless abyss. The suction created by the retreating water is powerful enough to drag heavy debris into the jagged volcanic pipes beneath the surface. Coastal winter storms intensify this cycle, sending plumes of white foam 30 feet or 9 meters into the air. Geologists classify the site as a collapsed sea cave, yet the rhythmic filling and draining suggests a living, breathing entity. The surrounding rock consists of ancient lava flows, sharp and dark, providing a stark frame for the white churn of the ocean. Incoming swells trap air in subterranean chambers, forcing it out in a thunderous hiss. From the depths of the Earth to the heights of golden temples, our planet remains a gallery of the impossible. These hidden gems are reminders of a world still waiting to be explored. Thank you for journeying with us. Keep seeking, keep wondering. We'll see you on the next adventure.